Welcome to AIMS India's online classes. Today from our science subject we are going to discuss about the chapter Earth, Sun and Moon. Okay children, so already we have started the lesson and we were continuing the topic on lunar eclipse. No, so in the previous session, so we have discussed what a lunar eclipse is. So today I'll just revise it once again. Okay, so when the earth comes between the sun and the moon, the shadow of the earth falls on the moon. So when the earth comes between the sun and the moon, what happens? The shadow of the earth, it is going to fall on the moon, and this causes lunar eclipse. So as you are able to see here, no, the sun is in between the the earth is in between the sun and the moon. Okay, and lunar eclipse can be partial, a little, in which a part of the moon may be visible, or total, in which the moon is not visible at all. So sometimes in the lunar eclipse, so this eclipse effect will be partial, where the moon will be visible, a small part of the moon will be visible, or sometimes it is not visible at all. Then we can say it is a total lunar eclipse. Okay children, and the type and duration of a lunar eclipse depends on the position of the moon in its orbit. So the type of the eclipse, whether it is a partial eclipse or it is a total eclipse, and the duration, so whether the eclipse is for an hour, for 2 hours, for 3 hours, for 4 hours, so for how much time the eclipse is going to continue, that is going to depend on the position of the moon. So as we have learned, moon also gets revolved around the earth. Now, according to the position of the moon in this orbit, so the type and the duration of the lunar eclipse is dependent. Clear children? See here. Are you able to see? This is the clear picture, clear diagram of the lunar eclipse. Okay. So where here in between you can see the earth. Okay. And here this is the sun, and this here is the moon, and this dotted area is the path of the moon, that is the orbit of the moon. See, in between the sun and the moon we have got the earth. Now again here you are having a word children, penumbra and also umbra. Actually pene is nothing but almost. Okay, umbra is like shadow. That is the meaning of these words. From these words you get this meaning. Okay, now the umbra, this side, if you see in the diagram, so it is little darker when compared to this part. No, this umbra part is little darker. No, and it is the darkest part of the earth shadow. Okay, so penumbra, this part, what is it? It is the much lighter part of the earth shadow. Okay children, clear? So this, when this earth is going to stand between the sun and the moon, so we'll be able to get the lunar eclipse. Clear children? Now what about solar eclipse? Solar is nothing but sun. No, solar is meant for sun rays, and solar eclipse occurs when the moon comes between the sun and the earth. No, so in solar eclipse what happens? See here, the moon comes between the sun and the earth, and the shadow of the moon falls on the earth. Are you able to see here? See here how the shadow of the moon is falling on the earth in this black color. Yes. Okay, see, once again you try to observe. Yes. Clear children? So this is when the solar eclipse is going to occur. See here the complete diagram. Here the picture of the solar eclipse. where you can see the moon in between the sun and also the earth, and the shadow of the moon is falling down, falling on the earth. The impression, no, this is okay. So again here, umbra is the, what is umbra? The shadow part, the shadow part, okay. And this penumbra, penumbra is what? So the moon becomes completely immersed, penumbra, see here, okay. The moon becomes completely immersed in the penumbral cone of earth without touching the umbra. See here, the lines too, they are not touching each other. So without touching the umbra, the moon, it is going to completely immersed in the penumbral cone. Okay children, so this is how the solar eclipse is occurred. Clear children? Yes. Now, if we observe from an area on the earth, no, on the earth, where the dark inner shadow of the moon falls, we can see a total solar, this is SOLAR, solar eclipse. So if we observe from an area on the earth, if you try to observe children from an area of the earth, so where the dark inner shadow of the moon falls, the dark inner shadow of the moon falls, so we can see a total eclipse. See, total solar eclipse. Here the dark inner shadow of the moon falls, the completely it is covered, no, then we can see this total solar eclipse. So if we observe from an area on the earth where the faint outer shadow of the moon falls, okay, the outer shadow is, see, only this much area. Actually this is the moon children, and this is the sun. Okay, this, the yellow color brightest part is the sun, and this dark color part is the moon, okay, which is trying to cover the sun. Okay, so here we can see a partial solar eclipse. Why? Because we are able to see the sun here. So this moon shadow is not totally on the sun, so that is why we can call it as a partial solar eclipse. Okay children, and if only a bright ring is seen, if only a bright ring is seen, see here, the bright ring, if it is seen around a central eclipsed area, see here in the between picture, in the middle picture, you can see a bright ring around a central eclipsed area, then we can see a ring shaped eclipse or annular eclipse. No, we can call this as a ring shaped eclipse or annular eclipse if there is a bright light which is in the shape of a ring, in a circular shape. Clear children? So like this you will have three types of eclipse, that is, one is total solar eclipse, the other one is partial solar eclipse, and the other one is annular eclipse or ring shaped eclipse. Clear children? Now, so let us see what is the importance of solar eclipse. So solar eclipse enables us to study the outer layer of the sun called the corona, which is otherwise very difficult to observe due to the bright rays of the sun. See how good it is. Scientists who deal with this satellites, solar system, celestial objects and all that, so they are going to observe these objects. No, they are going to observe these objects through microscopes and satellites and all that, and they do a research study, okay, and give information about that particular objects, because the sun itself is very hot. No, so in normal days to study about the sun it is very difficult. No, so when this solar eclipse occurs, it is covered with the moon shadow. The sun is covered with the moon shadow. So in this time, so there is a possibility to study about the sun. Why? Because on especially to study the outer layer of the sun, which is called as corona. Why? Because now there is not much heat from the rays of the sun, because there is a shadow of the moon. Okay, children, so this is how solar eclipse helps to study about the outer layer of the sun, which is called as corona. Okay, children, now we must always remember to wear UV rays protected dark glasses while observing the solar eclipse, as the bright light of the sun might harm our eyes. See, we must always remember to wear UV rays, ultraviolet rays. So, are you able to see in the picture here all the people, children who want to see the solar eclipse? So, they are wearing a UV rays, which is a protected dark glasses, okay, while observing solar eclipse, because the bright light of the sun, it might harm our eyes. It might harm, because they are very powerful rays, children. It might harm our rays. Clear, children? So that is about the solar and lunar eclipse. And now see here something very interesting in the picture. Yes, what is this? This is nothing but a tide. Tide, okay? So you will get this tide in the oceans, okay? So this is a effect of the eclipse on the earth, okay? Let us see the effect of the eclipse on the earth. So the rise and fall of the earth water. See, the rise and fall, it is rising and falling, rising and falling. So such as water in the oceans, due to the gravitational pull of the moon and to some extent of the sun, is called a tide. So what is a tide, children? Yes, so the rise and fall of the earth water, where it is? It is nothing but in the water bodies, especially in the oceans. So why this is a rise and fall of earth water? It is because of the gravitational pull. Okay, what is gravitational pull? It is the force which a planet or other body draws objects towards it. Okay, the closer the objects, the stronger their gravitational pull is. Okay, children, so here what are the objects? Sun is also one celestial object, moon is also a celestial object. No, so because of this moon and sun's gravitational pull, that is the force, no, where the body draws objects towards it, so there is a possibility of a tide. Okay, this rise of water and fall of water, which we call it as tide. Okay, children, and sea water rises and falls twice a day. Sea water, it rises and falls twice a day, and the effect of the moon's gravity is more than that of the sun's gravity, because the moon is closer to the earth than the sun. See here, if you see, children, if you have observed the picture of the sun, moon and earth, the earth is far away to sun, but it is nearer to the moon. No, so that is why the effect of the moon's gravity, that is the force, okay, so is more than that of the sun's gravity. On the earth, actually on the earth, because the moon is closer to the earth than the sun. Okay, than the sun. So because of this, there is a possibility of a rise and fall of the earth's water, which we call as a tide. Clear, children? Now, so when the sun, the moon and the earth, when these three celestial objects, what are they? Sun, moon and the earth, they are in a straight line. Sun, moon and earth, they are in a straight line, and especially during new moon days. new moon days. Okay, so very high tides called spring tides are seen. So when these three are on the same line, you can see high tides. Are you able to see in the picture here? So the water is rising up, the water is floating in a high speed. So you can see very high tides which are called as spring tides. No, so these are going to form during new moon days. Okay, and the combined force of gravity of the sun and the moon bring about these high tides. The combined force of gravity of the sun, here the gravity of the sun and also the gravity of the moon on the earth. Okay, so these two together, combined force, two together are going to bring these high tides. Clear, children? Yes, now. And now, when the sun and the moon are at a right angle to each other, when the sun and the moon, right angle means, children, 90 degrees, no, 90-degree angle, suppose this, no, or you can also this is nothing but right angle, no. So when the sun and the moon are at the right angle, suppose this is the sun, this is the moon, okay, to each other, we get very low tides which we called as neap tides, as it is there in the picture here. So when the sun and moon are at right angle, then we get very low tides. When sun, moon and earth are on the same line, we get high tides. Okay, so they usually occur twice a month during the first and the third quarter of the moon. So these neap tides, when do they occur? Only twice a month during the first quarter. First quarter in the sense in the first 15 first week or in the third quarter of the moon. Okay, children, clear? So this is how the tides are going to occur because of these eclipses. And this is the diagram representation where, see here, neap tide. Neap tide, when it is there, neap tide. So where is the sun? Here is the sun. No. And where is the moon? Here is the moon. Yes, here is the moon. So how it is? It is in the right angle. See? Right angle. Okay. And in this time we are going to get the neap tides. And when the spring tides occur, so where is sun, moon and earth are on the same line. So you are going to get spring tides. Clear, children? So this is the first quarter moon. This is the third quarter moon. So children, you will be getting the neap tide in the first quarter moon and in the third quarter moon. So that is in the first week and also the third week of the month. Clear, children? Now let us revise and recall the lesson by doing this match the following exercises. See here, moon. Moon. What is a moon? Moon is the natural satellite of the earth. So A matches with the fifth number. Neil Armstrong. Who is he? He is the first man to land on the moon. No, B is for first option. Chandrayaan 1. That is, this is a mission and it is India's unmanned mission to the moon. Okay. Solar eclipse. What is solar eclipse? The shadow of the moon falls on the earth. When the shadow of the moon falls on the earth, what happens? We will be having a solar eclipse. So neap tide. Neap tide is the sun and the moon at the right angle. So this is how we have learnt about these topics, that is moon, neap tide, solar eclipse, Chandrayaan and Neil Armstrong. Now, so here are some words, children, where you have to practice them and remember them. Like what are they? They are corona. Okay. So corona is the outer layer of the sun. Crust. What is this? Crust is again the layer of the first layer of the earth. So mantle, it is the second layer of the satellite. Satellites means again a celestial body which revolves around any planet. Okay, like for example our moon, it is a natural satellite. Solar eclipse, so where you have the moon in between the sun and the earth. Lunar eclipse, where you have earth in between sun and the moon. Okay children. Spring tide, so which is also called as a high tide, where the earth the sun, the earth and moon stands in a straight line. We'll be having a spring tide. Neap tide, where the earth and the moon and the sun, these are in the right angle, then you will be having the neap tide. Clear children? So these are the words which you have to memorize. And now let us learn some keywords again here. So crust, what is it? The outermost layer of the earth. Mantle, the middle layer of the earth lying between the crust and the core. Again core, the innermost layer of the earth. No, we have got three layers of earth, that is crust, mantle and core. Satellite, an object that revolves around a planet. Lunar eclipse, the phenomenon in which the moon is covered by the shadow of the earth and the earth and the shadow of the moon falls on the earth. Okay. Tides, the rise and fall of the earth's water due to the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun. Clear children? Yes, now see, here is the summary. Like what are all we have learned from our lesson earth, sun and moon. So this is a brief information like summarizing about the lesson. The first point is the sun and the 8 planets revolving around the sun together, they form a solar system. No, the sun and the 8 planets which are revolving around the sun, so they form the solar system, which we call it as solar system. And the earth has 3 main layers which are known as crust, mantle and the core. Okay. And the sun is the star that is situated at the center of the solar system, and it is a huge ball of burning gases. Now children, what is sun? It is a star which is situated at the center of the solar system, and it is big, large in size, where we call it as a huge ball of burning gases. No, so we have got hydrogen and helium there. And the moon is the natural satellite of the earth. And lunar eclipse occurs when the earth comes between the sun and the moon. So when is this lunar eclipse? So when the earth comes between the sun and the moon, we'll be having lunar eclipse. And solar eclipse, when the moon passes between the sun and the earth, we have solar eclipse. And spring tides occur when the sun, the moon and the earth are in a straight line on a. So neap tides occur when the sun is at a right angle to the moon. Clear children? When the sun is at the right angle to the moon. This is about our lesson children. So tomorrow we will be continuing with some other exercises from this chapter. So until then, take care and goodbye. Visit our website www.aimstoday.in for further information regarding online classes, quizzes, live worksheets, DIY activities, English classes and coding. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.